What is going on, Trash Talkers? We're back with another episode for you. In today's video, we're going to be talking about the training camp standouts for each team in the NFC North. All that and much more coming your way right now! All right, Nick, as we continue the series, we have finished up with the AFC. Now moving on to the NFC, and specifically the NFC North. We've seen some really big name free agents, a lot of big name draft picks brought in, but obviously the biggest name coming in this offseason was Aaron Rodgers returning to the Packers. With all that said and done, I want to talk about the players that have actually stood out in training camp and really made a name for themselves, whether they were one of those big names or not. And I want to start off with the Chicago Bears because they have one of the more interesting position groupings that I really want to keep an eye on, and that's the quarterback position. And what I'm hearing from camp is that both Andy Dalton and Justin Fields are really slinging the ball, really standing out at camp. They're making this decision extremely hard for the Bears coaches, and honestly that's the best case scenario, because if both players are playing really well, then you know exactly what you're going to get, and it's working out for your team. So we have Andy Dalton and Justin Fields as standouts. Jesse James, the tight end, is a good standout. I've also heard that Damian Williams, the running back, and Deion Bush at safety have also done really well. So out of these names, which do you think is going to be the biggest impact for the Bears moving forward?
Yeah, the Bears have been making a lot of headlines this season. All started with Andy Dalton being named QB1 before they even had the draft, and then they move up to go get Justin Fields. And now Justin Fields is absolutely tearing up the field in training camp. He is looking so good. He looks like a veteran quarterback in the NFL. Everything that Andy Dalton is doing to teach him is working. And I really expect Justin Fields to take over at some point, but I really am going to continue to watch Justin Fields' progression through training camp because we're all expecting him to make a start at some point. If he continues on the pace he is right now, we could expect that make his NFL debut in the beginning of this season. It all depends on how well he continues to progress. But by all accounts, he has been really standing out at camp. He has been making every single throw. His chemistry with the offense is surreal. He is going to be very good for the Chicago Bears this season. It's just all about when he gets that start.
Absolutely. All right, moving on, we have the Minnesota Vikings, and from what I've heard from Vikings camp is that three players have really stood out, that being Oli Uda at offensive guard, cornerback Cameron Dantzler, and tight end Irv Smith Jr. I'm going to talk about Irv Smith here because Irv Smith was brought in to this offense as the tight end 2 for a couple of years already. He was sitting behind Kyle Rudolph at tight end, and now that Kyle Rudolph is with the New York Giants, it seems that Irv Smith is going to finally get his opportunity to start as the tight end 1 for this team. And when you have Justin Jefferson and Adam Thielen with Dalvin Cook in the backfield and Kirk Cousins slinging that ball in front of this offensive line, Irv Smith Jr. has everything around him to be successful. He has the coaching staff, he has the quarterback, he has the requisite pieces to get this job done. And I believe that when it is all said and done, Irv Smith Jr. is going to be one of those guys that we are just absolutely in awe about. His athletic prowess and his ability to really gain separation, specifically in the middle of the field, has really been on showcase for us this training camp, and I'm really excited to see what he can do in preseason games and the regular season. I think Irv Smith is going to be one of those guys that we look back and say, whoa, how did we let this guy slip away?
Moving over to the Green Bay Packers, they've had some really good standouts, but their best standouts so far, wide receiver Jawan Winfrey, center Josh Myers, and defensive lineman TJ Slayton. I think the biggest surprise, though, is what we've seen out of Josh Myers, the replacement for Corey Linsley. Even Aaron Rodgers has come out and said how well Josh Myers has progressed through training camp so far, how well he's picking up this offense, his chemistry with the two guards, and how well he's able to read the defense. He's also helping out Aaron Rodgers pick up some calls that he's missing as well. So Josh Myers is on the right path. He is projected to be a really good center and a guy that's going to go a long way in helping Aaron Rodgers and the rest of this offense get to another NFC championship game.
Absolutely. Josh Myers has made a lot of headlines in Packers training camp, more so than the return of Aaron Rodgers. But I'm really excited to see what Josh Myers can do for this offensive line. And when you lose a guy like Corey Linsley, you best be sure that his replacement is going to be able to fill those shoes. It seems like it seems like Myers is going to be able to do just that. All right, and finally, we have the Detroit Lions. The Lions had a very interesting offseason. Brand new head coach. They bring in a new quarterback. The whole offense has changed, and now you're taking a look at some of these players that have something to prove. And when you take a look at everything that they have, you have some players that are really stepping up to the plate. And I'm talking about players like guard Jonah Jackson, wide receiver Victor Bolden, and wide receiver Quintez Cephas. But I want to talk about Quintez Cephas. He is one of those guys that has just lit up the Lions defense. He has absolutely been on par with Jared Goff. They are on the same wavelength every snap. They know exactly what each other are looking at. They have the same mindset, and that is exactly what you want from a wide receiver quarterback combination. Quintez Cephas has really stepped up to the plate and could end up not only being a starter for this team, but could also be the wide receiver one. Look for Quintez Cephas to be one of those names that really jumps off the page at you as we progress through the training camp, the preseason, and into the regular season.
Yeah, Quintez Cephas was a big name in college coming out of the draft last year, and now that he gets paired with Jared Goff this season, Quintez Cephas is really going to take advantage of all the opportunities that are coming his way with the wide receiver depth that the Lions have. Quintez Cephas is going to have a big role, and him showing out right now in camp is boding well for him perfectly heading into the regular season. I'm really excited to watch Quintez Cephas this season.
Absolutely. All right. Well, I want to hear from the Bears, Packers, Lions, and Vikings fans. Let us know down below which players we should keep our eyes on, which players deserve more recognition that we may or may not have gotten to, and let us know who your favorite players are on these teams. All right. Well, that's going to be all for now. Thank you all for watching. Be sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Hit that notification bell. We go live every single day. That'll be all. Peace and love.